Spartans, welcome back. It's your boy Leonidas here with another Road to Grandmaster, I believe episode number 5. In today's video, we look at Liren, the current world chess champion, when he became a Grandmaster at the age of 16 in the 2009 Chinese Chess Championship. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as this man went on a tear. He did not lose a game in that tournament. He drew a couple games, but he put on an absolute clinic. So I hope you enjoy, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Hold the line until then. Peace. Alright, so we have Liren with the white pieces, Li Shilong with the black. And as a reminder, Liren in this 2009 chess championship held in China, or the Chinese chess championship, if you will, is the proper term. Liren went 8.5 out of 11. We're looking at one game where he dominated, but he dominated the entire tournament. He got his third Grandmaster norm, and he got his Grandmaster title right after. This is the King's Indian defense, orthodox Gleck defense is what chess.com says. And it is a slightly different variation, and it allows for the big pawn center for white, and it allows for some interesting positions for black because they do put this knight out onto the rim, and sometimes, as we all know, knights on the rim can be sort of dim, but with this pawn structure here and a potential pawn break in the future, and these guys also being at a very high level, way higher than my 1060 I am in Rapid, they can get away with doing what they want to do. But again, they play 9 moves of book openings, culminated by this pawn takes d4. I play about 5 moves of book openings in the London system, where it's the easiest opening, and I still mess it up. These guys play 9 solid theory moves. White responds with the correct move, knight takes d4, because if they decided to take with the bishop, I don't know why this is lost. The computer's a scumbag. They see something in the future. They see 50 moves in the future, and the game is dead even after the computer gets to run a while. But with them taking with the knight, they keep their 0.6, 0.7 advantage. Black responds with rook to e file, rook to the e file, and this is a strong rook right now because it is a veiled attack. These pawns get taken after another pawn break. These bishops move out of the way. All of a sudden, you have a rook staring at a rook. But white responds with defending this pawn. This was black's initial idea, was to put pressure on this piece right here. You already have the knight looking this way. Now you put the rook facing this way. You need to protect this pawn because this pawn is central to white's defense and their attack in the future as well, because they only had the knight looking at it a moment before. As you see here, this knight was the only thing that was looking at it, so they reinforce it with the pawn. Black responds with putting more pressure on this pawn, and now white says, I don't care, because obviously you put this pawn up here to defend it. You're not going to sack your knight for just a pawn for any reason, especially if it's not leading to a direct attack, because if you're going to sacrifice pieces, you need to make sure that it's going to end in checkmate, because you don't want to be down 2 points of material for nothing. Black responds with trying to push this a pawn forward. White responds by ignoring it again. White is trying to get an attack down the center, centralizing these rooks, connecting these rooks. The reason they moved that queen up to this position was to connect those rooks. Black responds with moving the knight backwards, and white responds by moving backwards, and white responds by moving backwards. If you saw this and your coach and your chess coach saw this, they would slap you upside the head, because most of us who are under, I'd say, 1800 should never move our pieces backwards if we can avoid it. And these two gentlemen just moved 3 pieces backwards in the last 5 moves. They moved the knight backwards, they moved a bishop backwards, and another knight backwards. But here comes black. Black makes a very bad inaccuracy, specifically at this level, and it's a weird inaccuracy. Black, instead of needing to put the queen onto the b6 position, they needed to put the queen onto the b5, thereby pinning this knight to the queen and potentially stopping any sort of attacks. Li does not put the queen on the a5 square, instead does put it on the b6 square. White responds by taking the pawn here. Black responds by taking the pawn right back, and Liren makes the correct move by keeping the game in his favor. Any other move by the queen would have lost him the game, or if not lost him the game, at least he would have been at a disadvantage, because there's literally only this square and this square the queen could have moved to be in a safe position, and neither of those positions are good. One, this square right here keeps you blocked in from attacking and defending your position, and this one as well, you're kind of in the middle and you could potentially get trapped here in the very near future, such as moving a knight back to this position right here. You're pretty much trapped at that point. But White responds with the correct move. Black responds by moving the knight back, which is again a slight inaccuracy. But here comes white. White responds by saying, hey, let's go for a knight trade. You should probably take my knight. Let's take my knight, putting and establishing a dominant presence in the middle. Black responds by giving the game away immediately by not taking the knight trade. They should have taken the knight trade, and you can see the eval bar slowly start to creep up, because after black moves their queen, white responds by jumping in, putting pressure on this rook. The rook moves out of the way, which again is slowly moving this eval bar. It went up from 1.3 to 1.4, and you're gonna see a very trending thing happen here. The queen gets moved to, again, best engine move, putting pressure on this position right here. Black has to respond. Black responds by taking the free pawn and losing the game immediately. The reason that this loses the game immediately is now white can infiltrate. When you move a piece, you always have to remember what that piece used to guard. White responds by blocking this bishop from moving back into this position, because now the white bishop will now infiltrate. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting close to the end of this game. We are more than halfway done with this. Black is up 1 pawn. They are up on the material, but they are down 2 points on the eval bar. White is circling around like blood in the water, sharks looking to attack. There's a queen here, there's a knight here, there's a bishop here. This knight could strike into the center at any point, potentially sacrificing himself for some sick counterplay. But there might be something else in the air. It's not love in the air. Phil Collins, salute to you if you're watching. You never will watch this, but if you are, love you. There's checkmate in the air. Li Shilong needed to find the queen takes queen, but it's a very unnatural looking move. So they do move the human way, and it does lose the game because Ding Liren does the calculation. Because after the queen slides back, the knight jumps in, the knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, rook takes, bishop slides over. Ding Liren is now up 4.5 on the eval bar and is up 2 pieces of material. Ladies and gentlemen, this game is now pretty much over because it's now a middle, close to end game. Some might call it an end game. It's rearranging the pieces, sliding back out, putting pressure on these pieces. Black tries to respond with some counterplay in the future, moving this knight out to the c3 square, putting some pressure on this rook, but the rook just slides out of the way. Here comes the rook going for a trade. White does not want to trade right away. They want to make sure they damage his pawn structure. And now, after the trade happens, they decide to have these rooks stare at each other, because black realizes if they decide to take, you push this bishop here, this knight is going to get kicked out of the way, and this really the only piece that has any sort of threat in black's position. White responds by moving the rook over here. Black tries to do some more counterplay, but it's too little too late. White responds with a skewer of the knight and the rook. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no more plot twists. Ding Liren plays a solid game. He gets a Stockfish eval or a chess.com eval at 2800, a very respectable elo. I can never say anything about that because I will never play a game that good. He becomes the youngest Chinese grandmaster at the time, and I think so still to this day. He might be, could be wrong, still could be wrong for sure. I think actually I might be wrong. But he plays a solid tournament. He won 8.5 out of 11 possible points. 8.5 out of 11 possible points. That means he ran through the entire tournament. He becomes the world champion in classical chess in 2023. He beat Jan Nepomniachtchi from Russia, and he awaits his opponent. Will it be Magnus Carlsen? Will he make an appearance? In all likelihood, it will be not. Will it be the young man from India, Ramesh Babu Pragnananda? Will it be somebody else, a familiar face, Hikaru Nakamura? Will it be Fabiano Caruana? Will it be a new champion, or will Ding Liren continue his reign as the newest and first Chinese world champion? Love you guys. Like, share, and subscribe, and hold the line until next time. Peace.